looks like the video won. Let's get to it. Saturday, October 17th at 9:15. I'm talking to my husband on the phone because he's out of town, and my water breaks on his side of the bed. So I frantically call my midwife, and she calls my doula, and both of them are headed their way to me. So my husband calls me back. He says he's rushing down here. He's about like 3 hours away. He says that a friend of mine is coming over to help me out, pack my bags, stuff like that. This whole time, I've had like one contraction. So my midwife was serving as a monitrice, which is basically, she provides prenatal care to me. And then what they would usually do is they would go into the hospital with you if you're choosing to deliver in the hospital. So they get here, my midwife and my doula, and as soon as they get here, I stand up from the bed and I tell them that I feel like I need to poop. And they're like, they look at each other and they're like, okay, let's go. I drove my car, which is breaking a rule. Always have your own form of transportation. But she loves me a lot, so that's why she was driving my car to the hospital. So we're rushing to the hospital, and my contractions in the car are picking up a lot, and I'm starting to feel nauseous. And if you've stuck around for my ramblings before, you would know that nausea is a sign of transition. So we get to the emergency, and I threatened to throw up on somebody because they said something that annoyed me, but I ended up throwing up on myself before they could get here. So I finally get to the triage room. I've thrown up like a couple times waiting for my doula to come back and get parked and check in. And we get all settled in, and they finally do an ultrasound. So they do an ultrasound, and they discover that both of the babies are head down, which was a major blessing because I totally was like, oh my gosh, I'm like, they're probably going to cut me open. The place that I went to, their protocol was they're fine with doing vaginal twin birth. It's just that one baby B needs to be like a good size or smaller or the same size as baby A, or like it's out of the question. I was so shocked, but like super happy to find this out because this is something that I really, really wanted, and I've been working on with my chiropractor, that my body would allow enough space for baby to flip, which is great. After they do the ultrasound for the babies, they check my cervix, and I'm already 6 centimeters, just like I was feeling like I knew my body was going through transition. I was also getting shaky, which is another sign. They take us to our labor and delivery room, and my husband comes in soon after, which is great. And my doula has been helping me with some back pressure, some hip squeezing. I'm on my hands and knees. I'm like ready. This really made me appreciate being a birth doula and supporting people. I mean, like hip squeezing is amazing. If I was your doula, like I accept all of the praise, all of it. Just kidding. But it is pretty awesome. And it was great being supported. I really do not know how I could have got through it. I needed that extra, like, you got it. Focus. My poor husband, he was not outside of the circle. My doula helped him to have some tasks, and he like went full force. I definitely needed his support and his encouragement as well. So then my doula got the rebozo, and the rebozo is equally as amazing. It's a glorified scarf, but there's a lot of stuff you can do with a glorified scarf. So my labor went by super fast. I was already grunting and feeling kind of pushy. And during my contractions, what my doula did is she used that to kind of pull my stomach down during the contractions. The nurses were trying so hard to get heart tones on me, and they suggested that I'd lay on my back, but I told them no. And my doula helped me, help advocate for me, and was like, hey, this is the position that doesn't hurt. It's the best for her. So no, she's not going to. One of the nurses left, girl. She's like, I'm fed up with this. Y'all can deal with this. And then 2 other nurses stayed, and they tried to get something on me, but when the whole rebozo thing came in, there was no way. We were probably in the labor and delivery room under an hour. and I had gotten to 10 centimeters. Definitely with that help of the rebozo, they came in and checked me, and they wheeled me to the OR. They tell me to lay down, and I'm not going to lay down on my back because my back is hurting. So I am on my side, and I'm basically pushing on my side as they're wheeling me. At this point, I'm in the zone. Like, I'm not really thinking about anybody. I have my eyes closed the whole time, and I'm just pushing and working on my breathing, relaxing as best as I can in between contractions. During the pushing, I sounded like I'm a part of a screamo band. It was very loud. I didn't care about what it sounded like. I was just trying to go with it. And pushing feels so much better than contracting. So I'm laying on my side on the very thin OR table, and I'm just trying to focus on these contractions and making sure I'm being calm in the meantime so that I can give my babies enough oxygen. My husband is helping me with the contractions as he's letting my foot be on his chest so I can kind of use that as momentum. And we're pushing and pushing, and eventually we get a baby. I was very, very emotional with this first pushing. I really, really thought, both of us thought we were going to have boys. So we were thoroughly surprised when it was a girl. And I was extremely emotional. So really right after that, they took Amina away, and they hooked her up to all the stuff so she'd get ready to go to the NICU. And they shortly broke my water for the next one. So I pushed again, and I don't know, I think I did have renewed energy. That's something that everybody's talked to me about. It's like, what did it feel like not having a break? But there was a break. It's just that I just have to push again. Definitely significantly easier this time, but it actually felt different. Like, I felt like the pressure, the placement of the pressure was different for each baby coming out. And I think some of that has to do with just their positioning. The ring of fire is still there with the second one. I don't know why, but for some reason I thought like, oh, it's just gonna fall out. No, it don't fall out. It don't fall out. So literally, I forgot to mention this, but with the second one, after they broke my water, they wheeled past Amina to me, and then I'm like, bye baby, I love you. Labor was very intense. It was very intense. It does push you to your limits, but it is very possible to do, and especially if you have that support and you've trained your mind on how to deal with this contractions. Vaginal twin birth is not something that's very common at all anymore in hospital settings. And, you know, with positioning and then size of babies being one of those factors that discourage it makes sense, right? But it's very possible. It's all about being confident in what you know, looking for alternatives. Like, there's always alternatives. Always get a second opinion. You don't have to settle for less than you deserve. Is that Morgan and Morgan, right? So yeah, that was it. I don't think I left anything out. It was pretty simple. My labor went by mad fast. And I was able to push them out, girl. Lord.